Hello and welcome to another episode of Awakened Unfiltered. I am so excited today because I have a special guest and I have the amazing Samantha Blossom, who is the creator of Money Codes. And I'm so excited to have her here today because we're going to have such an in-depth conversation about money. We're going to talk about ancestral things, how we heal. We're talking about all the good things. And I'm so excited to have you all here today. So I'm just going to let the lovely Samantha Blossom introduce herself.
Erica, thank you so much for having me. And hello, everyone. I'm so excited for our power hour of magic. Our intention field is for you to sparkle in some happy money into your universe. I'm Samantha Blossom, as Erica has mentioned, and I am a money frequency mentor. So I have supported clients with making their first $30,000 sale. We just had a beautiful client hit her first $50,000 month, which is so fun. And it really just depends on where you're at on your journey. You know, I've had venture capitalists that went from like a $10 million a year to their first $10 million month. And I've had accountants go from $1 million a year to $3 million a year. But really, like my heart is with the spiritual entrepreneurs. So I've had massage therapists that would come to me and say, I'm just not getting any bookings. They come for a few sessions and they're booked out for 3 months. So this is where my heart is at. And when I first wrote the money codes, it was really because I was like, this spiritual work needs to get out there. If they're not getting paid, like how are they going to get this beautiful work out there? And so when I met Erica, I was like, oh my gosh, like we got to get this like beautiful program into as many hands as possible. So that's what we're here for.
And by the way, I might add, it is an amazing program because I have tried it out myself and I'm still in the process of it. It is very insightful, so many amazing exercises, and I'm grateful to you, Samantha, for helping me on my journey. And for me, it's been a long journey to create a relationship with abundance and just overall the word money, right? Because for me growing up, it was just something that it was like, oh, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that stuff. Money doesn't, you get all the money don't grow on trees. And just growing up in a very poor upbringing will set that tone within yourself, and you carry it and you don't realize how long you carry it for. And it was just something, and it's still something that I'm working through. It's a constant process for me, but I want to tell you that you sprinkled your magic onto me. And I think something as far as thinking about money and trying to build a business is understanding why, right? Why is the business owner doing what they're doing, and what is the process of wanting to make more, to do more? And I think that when you have that aspect of your why, it gets so much easier.
I love that you mentioned that because when I think of that, I think of a huge stream of light that comes in as a mission. And when you're really connected to that mission, it's like the field feels you, like the whole universe, that universal field feels you. And I think that's the ultimate is if you can stay in that mission, the money will just find its way, just like kind of circulates because it knows you need to build something. And the thing that you're building is for lots of people. So that resource will naturally circulate and find its way to you because it wants your vision to expand. And I think there's so many different angles to this. If you can get that stream larger, a lot of times you don't even have to think about money because it's just going to get carried to you. But I think for a lot of us healers, because of the ancestral programming, where it's almost like we shouldn't be paid for our gifts, like all these things, like there's some fear to it. So then even when the money circulates, it tends to kind of circulate right out because of the emotion of I shouldn't have this versus the command of, oh, I'm allowed to have this and so is everyone else. Like there's just that tiny little signal. So yes, for sure, the mission needs to be clear first, but then on the tiny little mechanical part, like, and you get to keep it as well. Like you get to have it and everyone gets to have it.
Yeah, I think just the fact that you touched on the spiritual, yes, within the creators of spiritual businesses, I think it's something that is frowned upon in some areas, where people are like, you shouldn't be charging for your, your services. It should be something that should be given away. So this is something that we constantly hear within the spiritual community. But I've learned throughout the process that our energy and our time that we put into the things that we are creating for the people that we are wanting to help, it takes a lot of work. But at the same time, it's an energy exchange, so it's like I've had to program my mind to look at things very differently. But it's constantly something I hear throughout: you shouldn't be charging this, or that's too much, or, but and I think everybody can do what they feel is best for them, and how they price based off of their education, what they put into themselves to put out there into the world. But you have to have some form of abundance, so it's looping back in so that you can build more. And if you have that mindset where you're like, oh, I think that's too much, and you're constantly playing with your prices, it could really mess with the energy of what you're trying to build, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many pieces to this. So the first
Yeah.
thing I want to say is we want that spiritual light in physical form. And so, in order for that spiritual light to be in physical form, right now, the exchange is dollars, right? The exchange is money.
Mhm.
So, by being a spiritual healer and then not charging like the right amount of pricing, etc., it's like you're saying, I don't want to exist that much. Like, I exist in the upper realms, but I'm not in like the grounded physical reality, right?
Mhm.
So, and then a lot of us are star beings. So we're kind of like used to other planets where it's like lighter and faster. And then we hit here and the density is like, whoa. And so there is, I think some of the work is like, I exist, I take up space, like I get to be in as many spaces as possible, like I get to open doors, I get to be in the rooms. Like I think there's something about being like, I'm here, I've landed, I'm grounded, I'm going to show up, like my body is here. Like I'm embodied, and that is going to turn into like the grounding of money. The other piece I wanted to say was, I love that you were like, we all get to have different prices. I say we all use the word money, but we're all dating a different version of money. Like
Mhm.
someone's dating Susie and someone's dating Jack and someone's dating Nicholas. You know, it's like we all use the same word money, but we're commanding a different consciousness field around us. And so my intention is just to teach you how to command that life force around you, how to rewrite that consciousness around you so that it can, you could be dating, you're like leveling up in who you're dating essentially.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's awesome. So, how would you describe to, let's say, any listeners right now that are on their journey and trying to establish their relationship with abundance and really trying to work through that scarcity mindset? How would you tell that person to start working on this process? Like, what would that look like for them? For somebody that's never done this before and they're just getting right into it, how would you tell them to start the process, and what would be steps? What would you recommend?
I think my first step would just be like, get a blank sheet of paper, write the word money at the top of the page, and then get really honest with yourself. Like, what are all the things you're saying about money? You know, for instance, like you're dating this person, let's say you're dating this person, Brittany, and you're like, background, you're like, Brittany never shows up for me. She's like, she's sketchy. She's what, you know what I mean? Like, you have all these things, and you're like, and then Money's hearing all of that. And Money's like, okay, that's how she, that's what she thinks about me. Okay. You know, versus once you see that list, then you start to clean it up and you're like, oh wait, like Brittany always shows up for me. Like Brittany is the one that like, she literally buys me chocolate smoothies. Like it's so cool. Like, oh my gosh, she does this for, like, you start to like clean up that conversation, and then you practice that new conversation for like a week, you know, and then see how Money shows up.
Yeah, I really love that, because I never would look at it in that perspective, right? But I think that that would really be beneficial for somebody who's trying to look at it from an outside perspective, because it is such, I'm telling you, it was so hard for me. I mean, it's still a work, I'm still a work in progress constantly, but I am in a way better place now than I would say like 7 years ago and what I would have thought about that. But a lot of it has to do with your magic. And I just have to talk about, I
Yeah.
feel like within the last 3 weeks, right? I think that's when we really started having conversations. There's so many things that have been showing up for me. And it's like when you and somebody else are on that same frequency and you are really like pouring into one another, you can see the magic. Like I would close my eyes in meditation and I'm seeing fairies. I'm seeing glitter. I'm seeing all types of beautiful things. And then I kept getting Ganesha just coming up into my field. I was going into this yoga studio on the wall, going someplace else, so random, statue right there. I was just like, okay, there's some serious magic going on here. And that's just another aspect of looking out the outside and how things are trying to move and open up, but you also have to be open to it. So yeah, there's so many things that do have to come together. There are so many pieces. I just think that you have to start. That's initially what it is, right? Just starting. Are there any books that you would recommend to any of our readers out there? Because I have a ton of people who love books. So please recommend any that you think they should start with.
It is okay. So Happy Pocket Full of Money,
Mhm.
Happy Pocket Full of Money, Think and Grow Rich. I want to say I probably like read most of them, but I did an Audible. The one I did the Audible for Think and Grow Rich.
Mhm.
The thing is, I feel like there's something in your consciousness that's like, I'm ready for this. And it's like, I had this ping and I was like, I need to listen to this. And I listened to it for 8 hours. And like 3 days later, I made my first $15,000 sale. That was huge for me. I was like, I had been trying to make that amount for like a year prior. And I was just like, it just wasn't happening. And I listened to that Audible like for 8 hours and something just clicked in me. And I like, when I made the sale, the client was like, I'm so excited about this. Like, I want to just like get cash and throw it at you. And like, let's do, like, it was such a hugely different, mm, like experience of money than I had ever had. So Think and Grow Rich, Happy Pocket Full of Money. I might need to, do you mind if I look at my Audible? I like don't always
That's
remember all the
fine.
names.
Go ahead. For any of the listeners out there, we're definitely going to have all those descriptions below. So just be sure to check that out. So we'll have the books there so you can find them.
That is so funny. It's funny how like, oh, the science of getting rich, the science of getting rich, a lot of these were in like, it started like 1920, 1910, 1920, and they already understood this. And this is why I'm saying money is a field, it's a consciousness, and humans create all these rules around it. And then we watch the news and we watch all these things, right?
Yeah.
But if we just realize like we're magicians and we're like commanding the flow of it, if you allow yourself to command the flow. So I feel like that's what a lot of these books will turn on in you. And Happy Pocket Full of Money really helps you realize like money is infinite. It's just that our perspective is seeing a small amount of it. But like
Yeah.
once you start to relax and you widen, you're like, wait, actually all the money is like already here. It's just you're just like expanding, you're zooming out and you're looking at how it's already here.
Yeah. I think I might have heard this in a book. I'm not even sure, but or maybe even you. I don't know, but I heard like after a while of really shifting the perspective about money, you start looking at it like monopoly money, like it's a game. It becomes
Yes.
a game because you no longer attach emotions to it. And I
Yeah.
think emotions and the things that we carry, especially, coming from like just my overall mindset of growing up and just really living in poverty and really not knowing where the next meal was coming from, and just really shifting that perspective of what money is now. It's a big jump. And it was just like, whoa, like how did I think about it like this at one point, but now I see it completely different. But I am a firm believer that everybody is supposed to be exactly where they're at. There's like this divine timing of when things start to really unfold, the understandings, the shifts, the mindsets. And it's also good as somebody who runs businesses, right? To understand how to manage money, how to help others with their business and their entire perspective and how to shift it so that they can open up their world to abundance. One conversation I think that people like the healing, right? There's the
Yeah.
healing that has to happen. And I know with your program, which I absolutely love, by the way, because I had this like aha moment that obviously a lot of my issues was tied to my sacral, my sacral chakra.
Wow.
And I had done one of those videos over and over. And like, I can't tell you how many times I've done it. And I felt a shift every single time. So, could you explain exactly like the chakra system and how that stream of energy works when it comes to the internal work and just the different areas and where we can open up for abundance?
Yeah, I think one of the things is, as a spiritual healer artist, we tend to be in the upper chakra. So we're so good here and we can see so much here. But then it's about like trickling it into like the solar plexus, like personal empowerment, the sacral chakra, which is about relationships and it is about connection and it is about trusting people and trusting money and trusting your choices. And well, I remember one of my clients was like, oh yeah, like I get it, everything is sex, like in a way, it's like everything is that. You have to be okay with the intimacy and the connection of it all. And the root chakra, like anything showing up in your like physical reality, like that's like root chakra energy, and so how strong is that root? How stable is that root? I know for me, I had to work a lot on that because my dad used to work on the ship, so he'd kind of be in and out as an infant, like 6 months here, 6 months there. When I was like 5, my mom moved to Taiwan. She was VP of this magazine company, so it's like anywhere where I didn't feel like rooted, the way that I was seeing my money for a long time was like big bursts and disappear, big bursts and then disappear. But then as I like strengthen my root chakra, like I am baseline consistently here. Like root chakra, like I am rooted. As I played with like I am rooted, then the money started to land. And
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it is super wild. I would make like 80K in a weekend and it would be spent in like a month or something. And I'm like, and I'm not even, it's not like I wasn't getting like fancy purposes. Like literally, like it would make no sense why it would disappear
Wow.
until I realized like it was just literally like a root chakra issue. It was literally like I was afraid of existing. Like I was afraid of like fully landing and existing. But like the more I was just like, I'm here, I'm rooting, I'm grounded, I'm choosing this, I'm like consistently gonna choose here. I definitely feel like I was from a different planet. Like I remember as a kid being like, okay, remember why you're here this time, like don't forget, and then just really feeling like I didn't like fit in. And that's
Mhm.
another key, like innocence and belonging. Like the frequency of belonging is like you connect with everyone around you. That feeling is also money because it circulates with your relationships. You say, I'm here, I belong here, I'm meant to exist here. Like all of that starts to like ground into that root second and third chakra because money is really that energy, that landing energy.
Yeah. When I hear you talk, like all I keep hearing in my mind is worthiness, confidence, worthiness, confidence. And I feel like that's just a constant like wound that's really deep within a lot of people because when you say you deserve to be here. You deserve to be noticed. And some people just, they have this fear of being seen. So, it's a whole process. I get it. It's a complete process. And I think it should be like step by step by step. And the root chakra is just a beautiful place to start when it comes to it because you have to be rooted in order for you to really just be anchored. So everything else can just kind of flow and move. So that's pretty interesting. That actually gets me like really excited, especially for the listeners who have felt that that discomfort or that struggle in their life when it comes to this. And it's hard, especially when you're really rooted here and people are just out looking at things that maybe they shouldn't be when it comes to the world dynamic. There's a lot of fear being pushed right now, and I feel like it's like where your attention flows, right? That like the energy goes, right? So and it's hard for those people that are realists, right, but also want to open up to their spiritual bodies, and they want to understand just the different aspects of this journey.
Yeah.
It could be something. So how, and I know the rootedness would help, but what would you say to somebody that is just like, and I know it's hard, right? Because we can never convince anybody that you're magic and you can do this. And, what could you say to somebody that's like really struggling and they're just like, hey, I just don't know if I could do this. And I don't know if it's ever in the cards for me. So like, what would be that little pep talk that you would give them? I would love to hear that, even though I know you gave me one. You're like, you're magic, you could do this. I loved it, by the way, because it replays on my mind. But
Oh,
like, I think that you are very magical in the way that you speak and just the energy that you embody and just give off. So what would you say to that person?
I feel like this is, as you know, this has been my latest download. Like, I think the phrase of saying to yourself just over and over, like, I'm sorry for the parts of me that are afraid of being free. Because think about the little kid, oh, like your mom yells at you or your dad does, or you get disciplined. Like, in that moment, the little kid is afraid of being free.
Yeah.
And in the moment that you're afraid of being free, you're not listening to your intuition anymore. So if we really unwrap this, it's like, oh, we watch the news. What is it? It's a mirror of the part of us that's afraid of being free.
Mhm.
If we look at all the variations of money, like how much we can spend or have or not have, it's all at the consciousness level. Like, I'm afraid of being free. I'm afraid to be free to spend. I'm afraid of being free to, charge whatever price I want. So I feel like when you say that phrase, you're going to feel the feelings, and then something is going to melt. Like, something in your deep subconscious is going to melt, and
Mhm.
that part of you is going to feel seen and recognized, of just like, wow, just thank you for seeing me and acknowledging me, that I am scared, that I am afraid to be free. And then once that part kind of melts, this is kind of a new thing for me, but like in just the last week, I've just had opportunity after like all these like things just like pop up, like I had a client, we only did one session each for the wife and the husband, and they have a billionaire coming in that wants to like fund this huge project with them. And it was just like this little key of realizing like how afraid we are of our own power, how afraid we are of our own decision making, of our own ability to choose, right? So I feel like that key, like if you can't do anything else, if you could only find one key, I would say, I'm so sorry for the parts of me that are afraid to be free. Like, keep melting that and see what just arrives in your life. Because I feel like as that iceberg melts, it frees up the energy, and then something else can just reflect back into your life.
Wow. That just like that hit hard because I like one of okay, so you know how some people will have this amount. I want to reach this amount, and that would be like their manifestation, right? So of course we know anything with the manifestation, you have to put in the work. It's just like sometimes it just doesn't magically appear, but you have to put in the work. Um, but when you say like free, that was literally my word. Like, I am chasing the emotion of freedom. Like, that's what I want. I want that feeling of being free. And I think that if you look at, let's say, just what it is you want to feel and how you want to feel, I feel like that energy really moves in that space rather than connecting to a dollar sign, which
Yeah.
could be heavy for some if you're just jumping into this and you're learning all about the abundance and trying to remove yourself from the scarcity mindset. I think it's easier, would you say so, if somebody would just kind of open up to a feeling rather than an amount? Would you say that?
Yes, because the thing is, the shape of money will shift so that you can be free,
Yeah.
right? It's like if baseline your the thing that you're buzzing at, vibrating at is freedom, then of course like money has to kind of like move around that. Whether it's money or a house or clothes or whatever, it's whatever in your external world will have to mold and shape around the frequency of freedom.
Yeah. Such a good feeling. Such a good
Yes.
feeling.
Yes, because you're an eternal being. Like at the core of you, you've been here lifetime after lifetime. You might change this costume, this outfit. The people around you might shift and change. The stage might change. The amounts of money might shift and change. But at the core, this core signal, like that's you. That's your eternal, like eternity. That's always you. And when you stay with that knowing, you'll know money's going to rise up and down, but it's like it's about you just staying at the core of that signal feeling.
Yeah, and just
Then you're
anchoring yourself in it, right?
yes, because then you don't feel fear when it goes down. You don't feel super excitement if it goes up. You just know it's like it's always going to be there. It's always going to be consistently circulating.
Yeah, because I think that's what gets people down, right? Like they'll feel like they're going up, up, up. They're getting to that place, but then something will happen and it's like, boom, we're back here again. And then we fall into this emotion of like hopelessness and then losing
Yes.
faith in ourselves and what we're trying to create. So it could be difficult, but if you look and you have that feeling of freedom and you're continuously putting yourself in that frequency, then it will then become a little bit easier for you to deal with those, I call them peaks and valleys. Even with my mediumship
Yes.
students, I'm like, listen, we go through emotional ups and downs. It's part of the process. And I'm starting to think that it's just the overall journey,
Yeah.
period. Like there's just these peaks and valleys, but it's how you handle the valleys, right? How do you behave when you are in this moment? Like, do you still look at the emotion or the feeling of freedom the same, or has it diminished the way you receive that? So that's definitely something for any of the listeners out here to think about, because yeah, it's a struggle, but you can get there if you continuously put in the work, and you just look at things differently and just know that you are worthy of receiving, and if you have a business and you're struggling with prices, because I think everybody is there at some point, we're like, I don't know, go with what you
Ooh.
feel, right? And I say, and here's the thing, right? I work with my guides a lot. So I just tell them, like, show me a number. What would have me, give me something so that I'm able to trust it and just go with it. And sometimes, at the beginning it was bizarre and I was just like, no, no, I can't do it. Then I'm like, no, I asked them for it. I have to go for it. Right. So I work with my guides, but I just kind of go with the flow and just listen to my intuition like you do. But it's just a matter of trusting yourself too. And that's something that I'm always pushing. Trust yourself. And here I am talking about, oh, I don't know if I should do it. But I think it's just the human logic of trying to make sense of things, right?
I have a really great story on pricing. Okay, so at the very beginning of the journey, I was charging like $111 and I would see like 12 clients a day. And I was like, wow, this is just like, I cannot, this is like not sustainable. I mean, honestly, I did feel pretty high, but I just started to realize like, oh, like I'm not living my own life. Like my whole day is like someone else's. Um, so then I started working with a coach and I remember wanting to shift he's like, yeah, shift it to like 555 for a single session. And I kind of worked incrementally. I started at 333, which was fine, and then I did 555. And when I shifted to 555, the client was like, "I'm so upset about your new prices." Like I got like a really angry reflection back. So I kind of was like, "Oh no," and I like backed down. And a year later, I worked with a different coach and I journaled for a whole morning. I remember being in a coffee shop and I was like, wow, my sessions have helped clients with brain tumors dissolve. My sessions have helped like people with like really chronic stomach things like totally disappear. Like, of course, 555 is like such an easy price for people to pay. Like, I just started journaling about it for like an hour. By 5 p.m., I had someone book and she said, I just saw your new prices at 555 and I'm so excited about them. And I just booked and I'm so happy. It was just like a completely different reflection. It was kind of like I had to connect all the dots in my imagination to be like, this is a good idea. I think of like physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, like when everything's congruent and it gets on board, then you say yes to yourself. And when all of you says yes, then the mirror of life also says yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so perfect because I'm like one of those people that have to break it down. So what you're saying is if I'm looking at 555 and I'm saying to myself, "Ooh, I don't know if somebody's going to purchase that," it's going to bring back that reflection of somebody saying, "I'm so upset about your prices," versus looking at it in a positive mindset and just saying, yeah, this is amazing. So you're putting yourself and you're reflecting the energy as if it already happened. It's already yours. You're happy about it. And then that came back to you. That is that mirror aspect. I love that. I freaking love that story because I think that alone will just inspire people to help them to see the world outside of them, but to also understand that we really truly are mirrors, right? The energy, again, we're going back to that, what we give our energy out is what we get back. So we have to really be mindful of what we're pouring ourselves into and what we're allowing to pour into us. I freaking love that.
I also, I often teach, like, I'm like, think of life as a video game. So if
Yeah.
someone gives me negative feedback, I go, great. Thank you for showing me that was living inside of me.
Yeah.
So then I take that data and I say, okay, this video game player thinks this about me, says this. Okay, like I don't love that. Let me like dissolve all these thoughts and let
Mhm.
me energize what I would love instead. And it's not about like controlling that person. It's more just like it gives me data so that I can attract like what is, and it might be that person, that same person may shift and change the conversation with you, or it
Mhm.
could be like someone else, but it's like when the negative feedback comes in, just be like, great, thank you for letting me know this is like already somewhere living inside of me. Like, okay, now I can come back to the drawing board. I can rewrite the script. Actually, like the way I see myself is like this, like the way I see my work is like this. I would love this feedback. And you start to energize that.
That's taking me back to that book that I was reading. I forgot, but it was like quantum jumping, but it's just
Ooh.
knowing that you are already existing in that form. That part of you is already existing. It is there, but it's just waiting for you to catch up. It's waiting for you to say, "Hey, hi, let's do this." So I love that. That's like I forgot the book. I forgot what it was. Becoming Supernatural.
Ooh,
Love
yeah.
that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
love that one, but he talks about that.
Ah, I love
That's by
that.
Dr. Joe Dispenza, but it was just a moment for me. And when you were talking about that, that's what just kind of played in my mind. And yeah, I think everybody can do it. Everybody can be free. That's literally what we were talking about before this. And I love Samantha and just her magic that she has to offer the world, what she has to offer just the people that are just magnetized towards her and just her beautiful energy and just wanting to help. And I absolutely love you for that, Samantha. Samantha, do you have any workshops coming up? Do you have Samantha also does retreats, by the way. So yeah, we're going to have all her handles below in the description. We're going to have all her programs. Do you want to talk about the things that you offer?
Yeah, so one of my spiritual sisters, Carly Coachella, she is a marketing queen. She's taking businesses from like 22 million to 44 million, really, really extraordinary. So we have a 3-day experience and it's called the High Rise Experience. And essentially, it takes you to a whole different vibrational plane of existence. We call it like living life above the density. And, one of our clients, she went from like 300 followers to like 24,000 followers in like 6 months or something wild. And after the event, she did her first $50,000 day. So this field recodes you. So it's like 3 days. It's Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. And we are like working in the field. We're recoding, we're updating, optimizing your consciousness. And we have it, I think it's July. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, but we have one in July, August, and September.
Mhm.
And so the first 2 days is really for anyone that's like wanting to update their magic and consciousness. And the last day is for entrepreneurs specifically. So if they want to up level their Instagram, TikTok, etc., it's really about the frequency of like rising it up, and then sales and making sales really sparkly and magical.
Mhm.
So we have that. And then we also have a retreat in Hawaii, which is, yeah, so it's the oneness retreat, and the field of light is like, that's really what we've been working with. I've been calling it infinitarian codes, because it's like the rest of your life is the best of your life. Like, I'm 43 now, but I often get that I'm like much younger. And I think it's all these little frequency tinctures that we, continuously bring into the cellular system. We weave it into the organs, into the endocrine. So everything just like lifts up. That's the
Mhm.
best way I can talk about it. It's like you just feel like life is holding you.
Oh my gosh, 43? Bless you. I thought you were in your 30s. No lie. I mean, yes, amazing. They're working. The tinctures are working. That's the sales pitch right there. Like, that's amazing. I freaking love that. What about your workshop? You have workshops and things, right? And then you have your course.
The online
Yes.
courses. Yeah. So this is the one that Erica took. She took the money codes,
Mhm.
and it works through all 7 of your chakra systems. And I really built it in that it's your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, so that you can unlock and free yourself up with any conversation with money. Like, I've had clients that say, just like she said, it's like, it feels like monopoly money. Like, it feels like sparkles. Like, it's like, oh, it doesn't even feel like that tension anymore. It just feels like it's just this like light thing. Essentially, it releases all of the societal coding around money, and it frees it up so it's something that you can just have fun using in your everyday. So we have the money codes, and we also have a program called Bling. And this is your masculine and feminine internal dialogue, internal conversation, and external conversation. So to me, when that conversation is really clear, money is just like shows up for you. It's just like almost just like delivered to you. And the more you use that other key, the freedom code, like I give my, because what's going to happen is so much money is going to come in. And then you're going to feel guilty about it. You're like, this has never happened before. Oh my God. But if instead of guilt, you just feel free, like I give myself permission to feel free. Like, I'm sorry for the parts of me. Like, if once the money comes in, you stay free about it, the money will stay.
Okay, yeah, because that's what we all need to know. How do we make it stay, please?
Yeah.
Because it seems like an ongoing thing for a lot of us that are just going through that. So, I love that so much. I just wanted to thank you, Samantha, for coming, for being on my podcast. I'm so excited for everybody to get to meet you and just listen to what you have to say. Is there anything else you would like to touch on or add before we come to an end?
I think this very last piece, because it just came in case
Yeah.
someone needed to hear this. When you vibrate at freedom, the nervous systems around you also vibrate at freedom. And so everyone's in their power. They're in their power to spend. They're in their power to pay you. They're in their power to play and circulate. So if you realize that life wants to deliver goods to you, what happens when you set life free and you say, life, give me all the abundance you've ever wanted to give me?
Wow. Well, thank you so much for leaving our listeners with that beautiful last bit that I think I need to. So thank you so much, Samantha. We're going to put all the links below in the description so you will know where to find her, her programs. Highly recommend her online courses. And if you have the time, definitely check out her retreats. So thank you all for having a listen on this podcast today. Till next time.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.